Hi, my name is Chris Manchester, Senior NetSuite Consultant at Sikich, and today we're going to look at NetSuite billing operations.
Some of the benefits that billing operations provide is streamlining the billing automation. What this means is it relieves the finance or billing teams from having to manually generate invoices on a set schedule, whether that be daily, weekly, monthly, or some custom frequency. Part of the billing operations will allow us to automatically communicate those invoices to the customers generated from the invoices that were created from the billing operations. And lastly, it creates an element of billing standardization. It allows us to group and create invoices on set schedules for particular customers or for a series of transactions that we designate as being able to be grouped together. Let's take a quick look at the billing operations in NetSuite. First thing we're going to look at here is a sales order. What you can see on this sales order is that we're selling to a B# music customer, and what we're doing is we're selling a development services to them. This services is more of a contract, and it's going to be based on a year-long term, so we can see our start date and our end date from our revenue recognition forecast. But more importantly, what we want to talk about today is our billing schedule. Here you can see that we've applied a quarterly 1-year billing schedule to the sales order in order to set up the frequency in which we want to invoice the sales order. If we navigate to the billing tab, we can see that the invoices are queued up to be sent out in April, July, October, and January of next year for a set amount. Now normally, if we did not have billing operations turned on for this particular customer or this transaction, somebody on the finance team or the billing team would have to come in, manually generate this invoice, and send it off to the customer. What we're going to try and show today is the ability to turn on our billing operations functions to automatically generate invoices and communicate those to the end customer. At this point, if we navigate over to the billing operations, we can see that I have a pre-built billing operations schedule. The first thing we want to do is provide a name of this billing operations. Again, we can have multiple billing operation schedules running simultaneously for different reasons. Secondly, we want to be able to provide a description for this billing schedule. What it is we're putting in the billing schedule, who we're sending these customers out, possibly for what subsidiary or division of the company, anything that gives an end user more clarification on what it is this billing schedule is providing. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose the frequency. How often are we sending invoices out? And you can see it gets down to an hourly billing operation, and it can go anywhere from annual to one time and anything in between. We have the ability to say repeat every X periods. So identified by your frequency, we can repeat this every 2 months, every 6 months. So we have a lot of options on how we want to set up our schedules and what is the frequency in which we want to generate invoices. The schedule will always dictate what is the next run date that we have for this particular billing operations. We'll even specify a time which we want to run it. So if we want to send it 2 times a day, if we want to send it early in the morning or late at night, we have the ability to specify a time and the next bill run as of date. So we have a lot of flexibility in how, from both a date perspective and a time perspective, how we want to go and generate these invoices. The next set of options that we have available to us is, do we want to actually generate credit memos from possibly return authorizations, or is this strictly a bill run? From a customer perspective, we have to define what subsidiary we're running this billing operations for. Now, if it's non-OneWorld environment, this won't be an applicable field. However, it is applicable for specifying exactly what subsidiary we're creating this for. Do we want to run this billing schedule for all customers who have eligible invoices to be created, or do we want to actually specify a save search dictating exactly what customers we want to be creating invoices for? This can either be a dynamic list or a very specific list which I actually want to handpick and identify what customers are going to belong to this billing operation. We can start to specify what type of transactions will be included in this particular run. We can build charges from projects, we can build billable time, billable expenses, billable items from, let's say, a vendor bill, and in our case we have a billable sales order that has a next bill date that's either on or before today. Like the customers, we can actually specify a saved search if we want to further refine what type of transactions are actually eligible to be included in this particular run. Much like the preferences on an invoice, we can specify what accounts receivable account we want these posted to, and some information regarding how we want these things to be presented to the customer. In this case, I'll choose that we want the invoices to be emailed, and we can go ahead and save this billing operation. Now at this point, these billing operations will run on a schedule, but for whatever reason, let's say we wanted to kick this off and execute it now. We have the ability to go ahead and click Run Now. The system will start to identify which type of transactions will be included in this particular run, and it'll begin to process. Once the billing operation is done running, we get a result. We'll see what submission it was, so if we wanted to see if a particular billing operation was successful or failed, we have a result here. It'll tell us from what schedule was this created from, what was the name of it, the description of this particular billing operation, when was it run, what was included in it, and what customers we ran it for. Down in the summary, we can see what type of results we had from this particular run, how many records were processed, whether they were started or completed, if they were successful, or if we had any particular fails. Now we can see in this particular one, we did actually generate one invoice, and if we want to see what invoice was generated, we can come over to our Records tab, which will identify what invoice was created, from what sales order was the source. I can go ahead and view that information. We can see the invoices that were generated, and we can ensure that they were emailed to the customer. This demonstration just gave you a bit of glimpse on the power of your billing operations and how it can start to automate your order to cash invoicing procedures.